I saw Willy, dude, I like Willy's videos, okay? They're cozy. They're just like something nice you can wag on while you're sitting and talking about some stuff. He made a video called What Wrath is Missing. And with Wrath being literally right around the corner, I feel like could be a pretty good video to watch, you know? Talk about some Wrath stuff, you know? So, let's see what this is, guys.
Changed a huge amount in WoW. It's gonna feel like Wrath of the Lich King changed a huge amount in WoW. It's gonna feel like a considerably bigger leap than Classic to TBC was. And even back in 2008, players were already voicing concern. The game is getting too casual. Blizzard doesn't know what they're doing. Nevertheless, it was hugely successful, and it certainly did add many quality of life features, many of which are still about to this day in World of Warcraft. But it did.
Before we start the video and everything, I really like Wrath. Wrath is my favorite expansion and everything like that. It's literally my favorite. I love it so much. But I really do think a big reason why it's so successful is because the front character for the entire expansion was Arthas, the Lich King. That little poster boy for Blizzard is like literally, that's like the villain of WoW, right? Like there's no way an expansion with him would not be good, right? So that it's literally like it's just how it is, right? Hard carried by Arthas a little bit, I think a little bit, but it's still a great expansion. I love it. I really loved it. I played the most back in the day. It's like when I played the most for sure. But yeah, like Death Knights as well was sick. I agree.
Did miss out quite a few things which came in later, in some cases many years later. So I thought, why not go over a few of the features which were not in Wrath of the Lich King, but would kind of make sense if they were in this version of the game. All of this is hypothetical, of course.
He's talking about changes, guys. Okay, hold on to your boats. He's gonna talk about changes. Alright?
I think they'll add any of these. I very much doubt it. Part of Classic so far has been recreating things as they were, not adding things from later on, even if it makes sense to do so. Though judging by the amount of comments every day I read about TBC players wanting dual spec, people aren't quite so adverse to changes from future expansions as they used to be. As always,
let's be honest, dual spec is just it's just good, man. Okay, like being able to have a PvP spec and a PvE spec, or tank spec and DPS spec if you want, it's just so nice being able to swap back and forth, man. It's just nice, okay? Like, nobody likes to have to go to respec every single time you want to do a single other thing. You want to go do some PvP? Oh, frick, I have a raid in 2 hours. Well, I can't. I gotta pay 100 gold, right? It's just better, right? I just like it, man. Dual spec is good. That's just how it goes. That's how it started. I mean, yeah, I know that it's like you get one thing, you get another thing, and then suddenly you get a lot of changes, right? But dual spec is nice, okay?
Many thanks to the members of the Patreon who support the channel.
You could make it, sorry, all the pausing. You could make it so you could only change your spec in a major city, right? So you would have to go to Orgrimmar or Ironforge to change it, and then, you know, bing bong bang in the chat. But yeah.
It really does make all of the difference. More on that later if you did want to join. First up is a feature which I had a really hard time pinpointing exactly when it was put into the game. This is cooldowns resetting on instance, encounter, wipe, or reset. So I think this may be the most diversive thing we're going to talk about today. It looks as though it was put in the game either during Cataclysm or at the start of MOP, which isn't exactly the most precise I could be, but people don't tend to upload footage of themselves wiping repeatedly on bosses from 10 years ago. What this would do is basically make sure your cooldowns are up after each failed boss attempt. This would affect 3-minute and longer cooldowns, exceptions for very long cooldowns such as Ankh or Lay on Hands. So what
it does suck a little bit when you wipe on a boss and then you're like, oh, okay, oh well, let's do another pull, but now we don't have Lost, right? That does suck a little bit, but yeah. What's up, Tonarobi? How you doing, man?
What might be the problem with this? Well, in retail, you can, for example, heroism and spam all your cooldowns on trash, go to a boss, pull the boss, make sure everybody hits it once, that's very important, you have to hit the boss, and then run out of the boss arena. It would count as a wipe, so all your cooldowns and the heroism debuff will reset. However, in retail, boss arenas take some time to close. In Wrath of the Lich King, I went and tested, boss arenas close pretty much instantaneously, and there are plenty of encounters which just straight up don't have a way to reset them up.
This raid, top tier raid, basically S tier. I loved this raid. Oh my gosh, it was so fun.
Looking
It
at
was
Trial
so
of the
fun.
Crusader, so I don't think this would really
God, I
change
loved it.
anything for guilds trying to speed clear.
Trial of the Grand Crusader, if you want to know what it's called. The one with Lord Jaraxxus, the two worms, the big Yeti guy, and you fall down below into Anubarak, right? Great raid. I loved it. I thought it was great. I know a lot of people really don't like it. And yes, I will agree, the rep farm and the dailies of that area really sucked. But I loved the raid. I thought it was great. I thought it was really fun.
Or on farm.
It was really
raids.
short raid, yeah. But
Remember,
sometimes it's nice having something short, like something that's like a short raid, like it's just really quick, bing bong bang in the chat. It was just fun. It was fun.
but in Wrath, the Lich King Heroism or Bloodlust now gives you a 10-minute debuff where you cannot benefit from it again, and it is raid wide. And there's still a number of classes which have 5-minute cooldowns like Death Knight's Empower Rune Weapon or Warrior's Recklessness, to name two. Then again,
that's what she's. No, it was fun though. It was a very different take on a raid, and I liked the whole like gladiator kind of setting, right? Like I thought it was sick. As somebody who I really loved the series Spartacus. I loved Gladiator movie. I love that, right? So it's cool having that sort of like a theme for a raid, right? And then having the PvP fight, having the other fight. It was fun.
There's no mass resurrection in Wrath like there was in Cataclysm. Wipe recovery and running back is an...
Spartacus was such an underrated series. Spartacus first 2 seasons was great. First 2 seasons, I'd say. Then it got kind of bad. But yeah, I agree.
Important parts of raid time management, and you're going to be getting a lot more familiar with it as we get into the later stages of Wrath, so maybe this isn't all even a problem, and the game has a built-in time sink after failed attempts regardless. Being able to have the knowledge you're going in each and every attempt with the same set of cooldowns is a nice feature which I did enjoy from later expansions. Anyways,
wasn't Spartacus a series full of cocks? Yes, it was, but that was a part of it, right? That was a part of it. It was a good series, though. If you haven't watched Spartacus, you should definitely watch it. Yeah, sadly, like the main actor, he like passed away, so he couldn't continue the role. So they had to change the main actor for the rest of the series. But the first 2 seasons are fantastic, really good.
That's the first thing I thought of.
A little bit of a sidetrack, but great series.
Up. At the start of Shadowlands, Blizzard discontinued a paid service and made it a free choice within the game. Yep, really, they deleted a way for them to get money, and it would make complete sense if this change was also brought back in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. And this was a service affecting the Barbershop, which is of course a new feature in Wrath, which will allow you to change up how your character looks. However, in Wrath, it was very much only limited to that, and in Shadowlands you can now change, well, just a lot more than your basic appearance. Here's a message from executive producer John Haidt.
World of Warcraft will drop the £13 fee for changing gender in Shadowlands. We felt like that's not the right message.
On why this changed. A long time ago, we had the ability for players to go in, it was actually a paid service, and change their character. Much of that is now in the Barbershop in the game. And as we were adding things up in Shadowlands, we realized, gosh, the only way you can change your gender in World of Warcraft is to go through a paid service, and we felt like that is not the right message. Now, I'm not expecting a full-on Barbershop overhaul to include all the customizations that retail WoW has.
You can change the... Dude, what the hell? I never played a Druid. I didn't know you could do that too.
More in depth than what we're going to get in Wrath. But despite it being an old game that's re-releasing, I don't see why this change shouldn't make its way back. Whatever you think about it without starting to get opinions, it's literally just getting something for free with absolutely no downsides. I don't see why it wouldn't be in the game. Next, Wrath of the Lich King is where collections and completionism really started expanding for a lot of players, and to accommodate this, Blizzard added a number of things, those being achievements and new tabs to help organize your stuff. Under your
It's so crazy how many achievements there is now. I do like the idea behind achievements though. I think it's kind of fun trying to do like a dungeon run and try to do the achievements, right? Like try to do something interesting like that. But yeah, I like it. I like it. I think generally it's fun.
Character, there is now a pet.
It can become a very time-consuming thing, but it's just a fun thing to do. It's the same thing with like, you know, with Mythic Plus. It's fun trying to do like challenge runs and stuff like that, right? It's interesting.
Where you will find your mounts as well as companion pets. Both of these items, when used, are now learned and will be stored here, and they will no longer clog up your inventory or bank. Very cool. However,
I like that. That's nice.
Blizzard kind of missed out on, well...
I don't like having like 15 mounts and a bunch of pits in my bags all the time. It's really annoying.
About half of the things that people collect.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm pausing. Loose spam pausing. But yeah, the Undying and the Immortal runs, I actually... That's one of the things I'm so sad I didn't get to do. I didn't get to get the Immortal and the Undying from Naxxramas. That's really sad. But yeah, stuff like that. Like, let's try to do like an Undying run this week, right? That's fun. And then you can yell at like Kevin whenever he fucks up and he dies, right? That's awesome. But yeah, I like achievements. I think achievements are cool. Definitely.
And wouldn't end up finishing the job here until patch 6.1 in Warlords of Draenor. This is when they added the toy box as well as the Heirloom tab. The toy box is a new space where toys go once they are learned so they don't clog up your inventory or bags, just like Blizzard did with mounts and pets. I don't know why they didn't do it earlier. It helps organize them, you get more use out of them on a regular basis, and I don't know about you, but changing up my character's animations and appearance is something I've always enjoyed doing. As for the Heirloom tab, well, do you remember how Heirlooms actually worked back in Wrath of the Lich King? I'll give you a rundown. So you go and buy them from the vendor, they're then bound
and you have to send them over.
You have to mail them to whichever character you wanted to have them. Go to the mailbox, get them, equip them, and then go out and level. It's not really that bad, sure. This isn't going to ruin your day, but if you're an alt enthusiast, which I certainly am, it can just be kind of annoying for no good reason.
This was a horrible thing to do, I remember. And then you forgot which characters had the heirlooms on them, and they just kind of like... Yeah, it was just horrible.
If you take a break, come back, and you have to try and find out which character has your looms. Did you bank them? Are they in the mail somewhere? Or if you're leveling, say, a rogue and a hunter one day or the next, both of these characters want agility items, but only one can hold them at once. It's just all a bit messy and inconvenient. The Heirloom tab from Warlords of Draenor was a big improvement. Here's how it works. You buy an heirloom and you love...
I mean, it's straight up true. Okay, this was just better. I hated having to buy them, send them over. You forgot which character you sent them to. Then that character had them. You had to use them again. And like, it was just...
Earn it like you would with a mount or a companion pet. You open the tab, click the item you want. Your character creates a copy that goes right into your bag, and you're done. No mailing, no finding items, and an easy way to see all of the heirlooms that
What is that picture, man, in the back? It's like a whale having like their midsection chopped out and hanged up, and then it's like a guy standing in the back. What? It's like an item. Okay.
And an easy way to see all of the heirlooms that you currently own as well. As for achievements, I think the system they had back then was fine. I am, however, kind of curious how they're going to implement it this second time around. So in 2008, there were a number of ways Blizzard could track what your character had or had not done. We had the real simple ones, as in you have an exalted reputation, here's your achievement for that. We have raid-related ones. You have Mark of the Champion in your bank, that's from Katie in Nax 40, so you must have done Nax 40, here's your achievement. To the more complicated ones, such as your character has the Champion of the Naru title. This means you did Magtheridon before achievements were nerfed. Therefore, you should get the Heroic Dungeon achievements for all the content involved in the Trial of the Naru. And then you'll have ones where you're probably going to have to go back and do the old content. Will the game know that you've captured a flag in Warsun Gulch, or that you've won a duel? Maybe the modern client we're on has the capability to track all of this. And when the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch hits, everything we have done can just be translated into achievements. It would be nice if it did, of course. It would be great to get a talk from Blizzard closer to the launch.
Yeah, this Battleground was so bad. I agree. This Battleground sucked. I hated this.
From Blizzard closer to the launch on how the system will work and whether they can do anything.
It was just vehicle combat.
It was back in 2008.
It wasn't like actual...
In fact, if you are a big fan of achievements and planning to go hard when Wrath comes around, I'd be a little unsure at this point on whether or not to actually start preparing, because we just simply don't know what Blizzard has been tracking in the background. Another feature I expect to be missing is one which we should already have actually, and something I just feel nobody really cares about anymore. That is the armory. I feel like back in the day you would always...
Oh yeah! Why don't we have an armory? I mean, if you want to look people's gear, you kind of like go to Warcraft logs. Sometimes I kind of wish there was an armory where you could check out stuff. It's kind of strange that there is no actual armory. It's all like external sites, right? There's no like Blizzard armory.
Look people up there, the big names from the top guilds, to admire the gear, the dedication, to see what the new full tier set looks like. I remember having to link armor.
It was cool, yeah. It's cool to be able to see your stuff and see all the things.
When applying for a guild or a pug or whatever it may be. Nowadays, there are just so many more ways to get information or check people. There are discords with sheets dedicated to simming different classes. Warcraft logs has a summary of your past.
Too much work for the 5 devs on Classic to handle, sadly. You're not wrong. That's the worst part. You're definitely not wrong.
Performances and raids,
Yeah.
as well as showing your gearing. But this feature existed before Wrath did, and I don't think I've ever seen any...
It's a dying game, guys. Let's be honest, man. We got Wrath, and then, you know, it's over for us, man. We gotta go play Minecraft or something.
Nobody even give it so much as a mention. It's just kind of been made obsolete by players with how people use and trade information now.
Yeah.
I thought I'd give it a mention. I don't expect Blizzard to put any time into redoing an old armory, and frankly, I think it'd be a waste of time if they did. Overall, there isn't a huge amount of things I would change about the game, and again, I don't expect them to implement anything different, but it is fun to think about and speculate as to where the game could be made a little bit better. Time has proven that not trying to change anything is a bit too rigid and hasn't reflected well on the game as a whole, so it's better to have a bit more of an open mind and just focus on the things that could improve what we know will happen, rather than to imply any change will result in some kind of disastrous situation arising. In other words, what I'm trying to say is they're already going to sell a new boost package. You don't need a scapegoat to get angry at when it happens. Thoughts on any of these? Reckon they would fit in the game, or is anything just too far? And let me know if you have any others as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I shall see you all in the next one very soon.
It's definitely a fine line to walk, right? Because there is some things that is very good to change and some things that are better to be with or without, but it's also a very slippery slope where if you change some things here and there, it can go down very fast, right? So yeah. God, I am excited for Wrath though. I think Wrath is going to be big fun. Definitely very hyped for it. We're gonna have to see how it goes. I'm not really too sure whether or not Cataclysm Classic is something that I would be very ecstatic about. But definitely Wrath for me, I'm excited for that. But yeah, I'll link the video in the chat, guys. Go give it a little like and check out Vili's channel. There it is, dude. There it is.